Judges is a tough book. It's raw and honest about the failures of God's people. It doesn't shy away from the harsh realities and the mistakes made by the Israelites. The book is filled with stories of disobedience, idolatry, and the consequences that follow. Yet amidst the chaos and the recurring cycles of sin, there are glimmers of hope and redemption. Yet it's also a story of hope, showcasing God's faithfulness even when his people falter. Despite their repeated failures, God never abandons them. He raises up judges to deliver them from their oppressors, demonstrating his unwavering commitment to his covenant. This theme of divine faithfulness is a beacon of light in the otherwise dark narrative of Judges. In Judges 6, we meet Gideon, a man threshing wheat in hiding. He is not a warrior or a leader, he is simply trying to survive. The Midianites have been terrorizing Israel, and Gideon is just one of many who are living in fear. His actions reflect the desperation and hopelessness that have gripped the nation. Israel is oppressed by the Midianites. Fear grips the land. The people are hiding in caves and strongholds, trying to escape the relentless raids. The Midianites are like locusts, devouring everything in their path. The Israelites are left with nothing, their spirits crushed under the weight of oppression. God calls Gideon to deliver his people. An angel appears to him, addressing him as a mighty warrior. This is surprising given Gideon's current state of fear and insecurity. But God sees something in Gideon that he does not see in himself. He sees potential, courage, and a heart that can be molded for his purposes. Gideon is unsure, even afraid. He questions the angel, doubting his own abilities and worthiness. He asks for signs to confirm that it is truly God speaking to him. His hesitation is understandable. The task ahead is daunting, and he feels inadequate. But God is patient with Gideon, providing the reassurance he needs. But God sees a leader in Gideon. He sees beyond the fear and the doubt. He sees a man who, with divine empowerment, can rise to the occasion. God's vision for Gideon is not limited by human weaknesses. He knows that with his strength, Gideon can become the leader Israel needs. He gives him strength and courage. Gideon accepts the call. He gathers an army. Despite his initial reluctance, Gideon steps into his role. He rallies the men of Israel, preparing them for the battle ahead. His transformation from a fearful man to a determined leader is a testament to the power of God's calling. He is ready to face the Midianite threat head-on. It won't be easy. The Midianites are numerous and powerful, but Gideon's faith in God gives him the courage to confront them. He knows that the battle is not just physical, but spiritual. It is a fight for the soul of Israel, but Gideon knows God is with him. This assurance is his greatest strength. He prays for guidance and strength, and God reassures him of his presence. This divine support is crucial for Gideon, as it fortifies his resolve and gives him the confidence to lead his people. He is ready to fight for his people and for God's justice. Gideon's mission is not just about defeating the Midianites, it is about restoring Israel's faith in God. He is fighting for a higher cause, one that transcends the immediate threat. His journey is a testament to the transformative power of faith and obedience. This is the beginning of Gideon's journey, a journey that will test him in ways he never imagined. It is a path filled with challenges and uncertainties, but also with divine encounters and miraculous victories. Gideon's story is a powerful reminder that God can use anyone, regardless of their background or fears, to accomplish his purposes. Imagine living in constant fear. That was the reality for the Israelites under Midianite oppression. For 7 years, the Midianites, along with the Amalekites and other people groups, had raided their land. These weren't just quick attacks. The Midianites would stay for months, devouring everything. They would steal their crops, their livestock, leaving nothing behind. Families went hungry. Children cried themselves to sleep. Desperation filled the air. The Israelites cried out to God for deliverance. They had forgotten God's power. They had turned away from him. But in their desperation, they remembered their true deliverer. Gideon, empowered by God, assembled an army. His force marched towards the Midianite camp. Along the way, they passed through the territories of Succoth and Penuel. These were Israelite towns. Gideon hoped for their support. He asked them for food for his weary soldiers. "Give us bread," he pleaded, "for we are pursuing Zebah and Zalmunna." But the leaders of Succoth scoffed. "Do you already have the hands of Zebah and Zalmunna in your possession?" they mocked, "that we should give bread to your army?" Penuel too echoed the same arrogant refusal. Tired, hungry, and facing a powerful enemy, Gideon and his men were denied even the simplest act of kindness. Despite the setbacks, Gideon and his men pressed on. They were exhausted and outnumbered, but they had something the Midianites didn't: God's favor. God fought for them. He threw the Midianite camp into confusion. The Midianites panicked and turned on each other. The tide turned. Gideon's small army, empowered by God, routed the mighty Midianite force. They captured the Midianite kings, Zebah and Zalmunna, and pursued the remnants of their army. Gideon had done the unthinkable. He had led a ragtag group of Israelites to victory against a powerful enemy. He returned a hero, victorious and vindicated. In the annals of history, few tales are as poignant as the one where a city's indifference led to its downfall. News of Gideon's victory spread like wildfire. The once doubted leader had triumphed against overwhelming odds, defeating the Midianite kings, Zebah and Zalmunna. His name was on every tongue, his deeds the subject of every conversation. He returned to Succoth, the city that had denied him bread in his hour of need. The city gates, which once seemed so imposing, now stood as silent witnesses to the approaching storm. The leaders of Succoth trembled. They had heard of Gideon's wrath and knew that their actions, or rather their inactions, had not gone unnoticed. The air was thick with fear and regret. They knew Gideon remembered their refusal. The elders, who once felt secure in their decision, now faced the consequences of their heartlessness. Their minds raced, searching for a way to placate the vengeful warrior. "Where are the men who mocked me, saying, 'Do you already have the hands of Zebah and Zalmunna in your possession, that we should give bread to your weary men?' Gideon demanded. His voice was a thunderclap, echoing through the halls of the city. He had not forgotten their insults, their lack of compassion. Every slight, every word of derision was etched in his memory. The pain of his men, the hunger they endured, fueled his anger. He seized the elders of the city. His soldiers, loyal and fierce, moved swiftly, capturing the leaders who had once turned him away. The tables had turned, and now it was Gideon who held the power. Then he took thorns of the wilderness and briars. These were not just tools of punishment, but symbols of the harsh lesson he intended to impart. With these, he taught the men of Succoth a painful lesson. The thorns bit into their flesh, a physical manifestation of the pain they had caused through their indifference. He punished them severely for their callousness. The cries of the punished echoed through the city, a stark reminder of the cost of apathy. Their indifference to the plight of their own people had come at a steep price. The city of Succoth would never forget the day they faced Gideon's wrath, a day that would be etched in their collective memory for generations to come. Gideon didn't stop with Succoth. He moved on to Penuel, the other city that had refused him aid. Like Succoth, Penuel's leaders panicked. They had chosen comfort over compassion. Now they faced the consequences. Gideon, fueled by righteous anger, tore down their tower. This tower was more than just a structure. It was a symbol of their pride, their self-reliance. By destroying it, Gideon delivered a message. Their refusal to stand with their people had cost them dearly. They had chosen safety over solidarity. Now their sense of security lay in ruins. The fall of their tower was a stark reminder of the consequences of their actions. The weight of justice. Was Gideon's response justified? Gideon's actions force us to confront a difficult question. Was his punishment of Succoth and Penuel justified? On the surface, it seems like an overreaction. After all, he had achieved a great victory. Shouldn't he have shown mercy? However, Gideon's actions reveal a deep sense of betrayal. Succoth and Penuel weren't neutral parties. They were his own people. They had abandoned their own kin in a time of desperate need. Their refusal to help wasn't just about bread. It was about denying their shared heritage, their responsibility to one another. In Gideon's eyes, Their apathy was a betrayal of the covenant, a sin against God and their people. While Gideon's anger was understandable, his actions also hold a warning. The pursuit of justice, when fueled by bitterness, can have unintended consequences. Even heroes can be corrupted by vengeance. Did Gideon's punishment truly bring healing? Or did it sow seeds of resentment and division among the Israelites? The story doesn't explicitly tell us, but it raises important questions about the nature of justice and the dangers of allowing vengeance to consume us. It reminds us that even in our righteous anger, we must be careful not to become the very thing we are fighting against. The danger of apathy. A warning from Succoth and Penuel. The story of Succoth and Penuel serves as a stark warning against apathy. Their sin wasn't active malice, but indifference. They chose comfort over compassion, self-preservation over solidarity. They closed their eyes to the suffering of their own people. Their story reminds us that silence in the face of injustice is complicity. Turning away from those in need makes us complicit in their suffering. The true measure of a society is not how it treats its strongest, but how it treats its most vulnerable. Succoth and Penuel failed that test, and their names stand as a cautionary tale through the ages. Standing with courage, choosing compassion over comfort. In a world often driven by fear and self-interest, the story of Gideon's victory challenges us to choose a different path. It calls us to stand with courage, to choose compassion over comfort, to fight for justice even when it's costly. It reminds us that true strength lies not in isolation, but in unity, in recognizing our shared humanity. It calls us to be like the brave souls who stood with Gideon, who risked their lives for the freedom of their people. It reminds us that even small acts of kindness can make a difference, that every voice raised against injustice matters. Echoes of justice, lessons for today's world. The story of Gideon's vengeance is not just an ancient tale, it speaks to us today, challenging us to examine our own hearts and actions. We live in a world where injustice, oppression, and indifference still reign. We see it in the news, in our communities, sometimes even in our own lives. The story of Gideon reminds us that we are not powerless. We have a choice to make. Will we be like Succoth and Penuel, choosing comfort in silence? Or will we choose to stand with the oppressed, to raise our voices against injustice, to fight for a better world? The choice is ours. Let Gideon's story shape your heart. The story of Gideon is not just a history lesson, it is a timeless narrative that transcends the pages of ancient texts and speaks directly to our modern lives. It is a call to action, a powerful reminder that we are all part of a larger story. It urges us to look inward and ask ourselves some hard questions. Are we living up to the values we hold dear? Are we standing up for what is right, even when it is difficult? Where do we see injustice in our world today, in our communities, our workplaces, our schools? How are we complicit in it through our silence or inaction? Are we turning a blind eye to the suffering of others because it is easier to remain silent? What can we do in our own spheres of influence to make a difference? Can we educate, advocate, and take tangible steps to create change? Let the story of Gideon's vengeance and its aftermath stay with you. Let it be a constant reminder of the consequences of our actions and the power of our choices. Let it shape your heart, your choices, and your actions. Choose compassion over comfort. Choose courage over fear. Choose justice over indifference. Every small act of kindness, every moment of bravery, every stand for justice contributes to a better world. The world needs your voice. It needs your passion, your commitment, and your willingness to stand up for what is right. The world needs your action. Make a difference. Be the change you wish to see. Let Gideon's story inspire you to live a life of purpose and impact. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up. It's a small gesture, but one truly appreciated. Share this video to help us spread the word about our Savior, Jesus Christ. Become a part of our growing family and subscribe to our channel. May God bless you in all your endeavors. Thank you for watching.